So hello and welcome back to our little early game guide. I recorded 2 episodes yesterday and overnight I sort of remembered a few things I forgot to mention or wanted to speak a little bit more in depth about. I'm gonna do that in a minute, but that's carrying on straight from yesterday. And here we got a slinger and we got a promotion. That's also something I want to talk to you guys about it. Because a whole lot of people go barrage because they really like to go barrage 2, 3 and get logistics, right? And it's a fantastic thing if you can shoot at somebody twice. And that is absolutely true up to the point where you can't shoot at all. So what do I mean by that? For example, you might have an enemy unit standing here and you got an archer like behind the hill. You can't shoot him, you can't shoot over it. And because you haven't got range, you also can't go back and shoot over that hill onto those guys, right? And there's also the thing that you have to get very close to your enemy, right? The slingers only got range 1, but let's just ignore the slinger for a minute. Let's talk about the archer line, right? They usually got range 2. And usually you also fire from 2 tiles away. You usually got a melee unit in between to sort of protect them, right? And as I said, barrage is cool unless there's something in the way or something is too far away and then you can't shoot it. And that is why I always go accuracy, because where I want to get to is range. Get accuracy 1, 2, 3. And then I'd absolutely want to have range and then indirect fire afterwards. In a way, it's also quite accuracy in itself is quite helpful because it does more damage against units above 50 HP, right? Especially sort of totally fresh troops on 100%. It does more damage against those. So it makes it then easier maybe for a melee unit or maybe a horse archer skirmisher to sort of finish him off, right? But I really want to get to range because I'm a coward, right? I want to sit on a hill somewhere and shoot things 3 tiles away. And another thing is to consider when talking about range is like terrain, right? You might have I don't know where is a good example now, but let's just say there's a river in the way, right? And say you have to cross a river in order to shoot, but then you can't retreat because you lose the movement once you cross the river, and then a melee unit can get to you. So in that case, you shouldn't cross the river in the first place to get a shot off, right? Because you'll just die. So that's another thing range +1 helps you with. You can just shoot from further away and be safe, and terrain doesn't come so much into it. Also, say if you had like an enemy city here, right? You could shoot from all those tiles back here, right? You could have 4 guys here shooting that city. Perfectly safe in the distance. You might even have another archer a little bit closer, but you have maybe 1 melee unit protecting the river crossing. And then afterwards, you want to go indirect fire so that you can always shoot. And because you can always shoot, you can always gain XP. You can always do damage, right? So that's why I prefer range over logistics, and I prefer it to a ratio of about 3 or 4 to 1. So every 3 or 4 range guys, I want to have maybe 1 barrage guy. I often take barrage guys with logistics for archers or any sort of ranged unit that I use as garrisons. You could also take trebuchets and later cannons or field guns, and you go the logistics route. But sort of offensively, I prefer to have the range, keep the guys safe behind, and be able to shoot most of the time, right? So that's why I take that. And so we're gonna try and kill that guy, and we also have to worry about the handbag here. Another thing I wanted to talk a little bit more about is city placement. We're gonna do that in a second once those settlers get to their designated spots. We can actually go this way as well. You can go in there. And he's just gonna heal and let him come to him. Here, that is done. Did we get construction yesterday? No, we're still waiting on it. We also want a road down here. And roads is also something we can talk about a little bit. So you get unhappiness from isolation. There you see, we got 4. Roads or lighthouses will take care of that, and roads cost maintenance, right? So you get a little bit of money for the city connections, and you lose the unhappiness from isolation. You get the same from the lighthouse, but you don't have to pay the maintenance for every little road section. So that's why you should think about your roads and lighthouses a little bit in advance. Quite often you don't bother going fishing or even sailing, right? So you're gonna have to build roads. If you got like a sort of a sea-oriented civ, or like us, we got whales, so we're going up there anyway. We're going towards fishing, so in another game, we might just carry on up here. In fact, I might have done that in my progress game, which we're gonna look at a little bit later, maybe in this or in the next episode. So here we're gonna have to build roads. You can rebuild roads, like build it for 3 turns and then stop. I think that's still a thing. I think because people are forever nerfing everything. They're trying to make the game harder and harder and harder, so that maybe nobody can ever beat it on DT again soon. I'm not sure. So Attila, he's settled close to us, which is cool. Can I get past that idiot? I can. Or I will also destroy the camper settling here, which will be nice. Let's just get some more XP here. I'm saying it's cool because I've been thinking about this since yesterday. I think we want to make Attila our first target. We can declare war on him, and you can trust the AI to do something stupid like send units across that narrow passage here, or even sort of jump into the lake here and then out into the desert to dry off your clothes, right? And then maybe we can have a couple of archers here and just pick the guys off. Because eventually we're going to have to start using our authority thing here, right? And that is also something I want to talk a little bit more about. Let's just get our scout here. I'm gonna hug the coast so we can get maximum vision and XP. And then in a minute, I don't know if we're gonna go this way or come back up. We also want to find another natural wonder. Usually there's 8 in the game, I think. And also want to find more city-states because, as I said, there might be little quests that you can do in between. You get like quests for buildings, like, you know, build 2 markets or something like that. Things you want to do anyway, so if you get some reward for it, so much the better. I'm just gonna wait to pop that city and then we talk about our buildings and yields a little bit. Okay, City placement. We talked about that a little bit, like settling the first city, looking at the surrounding tiles, right, and not moving too far because you want to get going. We talked about settling the output cities first before you fill in the cities in your backyard, because you don't want the AI to grab territory, and you want to have a sort of a base of operations, right? So usually in that city, we should also build a wall, which is going to be available in a minute. Because if you forward settle AIs, they sort of tend to not like it and then denounce you, declare you on things like that, you know? But other than that, what you should also consider is the terrain where you settle your city on. And if you get a chance at all, I would advise settling on a hill. It's got sort of two things going for it. You get one more hammer from settling on there, and you also get a defensive bonus from settling on the hill, right? Of course, you shouldn't sort of move to a hill if it sort of means missing out on some really, really good tiles, right? So here we're lucky. I can turn the grid on for a second. So we got a 3 tile radius, so we're gonna grab like 5 sources of fish and whales here. We got the atoll here. We got a couple of hills for production, so that city should be okay. Another thing you should worry about is the defensive position of the city. So settling on a hill is one thing. And then the next thing is how safe the city is. Like this one, it's up on a hill, that's good. It's got a mountain next to it, so no melee unit can attack you from there unless it's the bloody mountain hoppings, what is it, the Incans, right? There's a desert tile here, there's 2 more here, so you can't get there in one movement. Even like a knight or so is gonna expand. Well, it can. It'll expand 3 movement points and then it might attack, but then it has to stay here and then you can sort of pick it off with your ranged units, right? Also, like rivers can help you, right? So anybody who wants to come from this side would have to cross the river, so he'd be stopped in their tracks. When you settle on the coast here, you should pay a little bit of attention how many tiles you can be attacked from. Like this would be a really bad tile because you could get attacked from 3 melee boats. Now imagine they all got blitzed, so that could be 6 attacks. Not ideal, right? Sometimes it's sort of the resources or whatever just dictates it, or maybe you want to settle down here and there's islands around, so it's pretty safe to do, right? But if you don't know what's up here, or if there are bound to be enemy cities here, or if you know you got Holland as a neighbor, you know, with the sea beggars, then I would not settle. I might not even settle on this tile here. I might even go off the hill, go inside inside the land a little bit. You still got the water access here. You still grab all the tiles. But it would just be a little bit safer, right? In fact, it might be the smartest play here because we don't know what's here. What we do know is that up here is tundra or maybe nothing at all. See, the tundra starts here. So the pole is somewhere up here. For the time being, or we're just gonna settle here. And you see on the tile we get more production from being on a hill compared to like this city here. Right, it's got 1 hammer less. Maybe it's 4. So popping the city here also got rid of the camp. So we can do that. And that, and this guy might just have a look. Oh, there's another camp. Just a little bit lucky here, I'd say. We saved up some money last time. for the workboat, so we can pop that here immediately. Happiness has gone down again. We even got enough money left to pay for this thing here. He's gonna bugger off in a minute. And then we got a 4 and 3 tile to work immediately, so we're gonna grow very quickly. We're also gonna get our first building quickly. So at the moment we're looking at 43 turns for our religion. Turn 1 of 5 is much too slow. We're gonna get an extra border pop here sometime soon. Oh no, it's gonna go here first. So we might still want to go shrine first. We do want to get our religion as early as possible. We sort of made up our bed by going authority. So you do want to get the good religion. You want to get the I think it's called a hero worship, where you get rewards from conquering things, and then you want to get orders where you get faith from kills and extra XP for the units. So because we settled on the hill, you're gonna get that shrine fairly quickly. Once he's gone, we're gonna get extra faith here, and the workboat we just purchased is gonna get us another faith. And then we are up to plus 15, and that should usually be enough if you get the plus 15 in a sort of reasonable time frame. And then you can go well first because it gives you production, but the culture is good, and we're gonna have plenty of production from those 2 towns. So we can go monument first. The well is a good building early on. And talking about buildings, right? Choosing which buildings to build in this game is not the easiest thing, and it's also never the same. It always depends on which civ you're playing. It sort of depends on the terrain, right? And there's no formula to it. There's always things you should consider when you make your decisions, right? And this is what this whole little tutorial or guide is all about. It's not telling you what to do, it's telling you what to consider, right? In order to progress in a game, you need mainly 2 things. You need science, right? Because you want to get the techs where you get to the buildings you want or the units you need. And of course you need culture, right? Because those give you the policies here which sort of enhance your strategy. To a different degree, faith, right? If you want to get a religion, you can choose different beliefs. And then money is another thing. Money is almost like production, because you can spend your money on a variety of things. You can purchase tiles like I did here because it's really, really good. And if you've got lots of money, so you can pay for buildings. It reduces the building time by 50% in the beginning. So if you don't have a lot of production available, you might want to crank up your economy instead, right? You could build markets first and then use that money to pay for the buildings which you can't build very quickly because you lack the terrain. That is one thing. But more important to consider is what you have and what you need. For example, most guys will probably know Polynesia, right? They can build those Moai statues and they give you a whole load of culture. In fact, Polynesia is a little bit of a funny civ because you sort of tend to want to go of a tradition with them. But tradition usually means you want to pop a lot of crate people, and suddenly you don't want to pop your crate people because we got your beautiful statues everywhere. So it's a very tricky civ, you know? But you can also have like Pakal. Pakal has got an improvement which you can plant on forests and jungles, and it gives you science and faith. So you could say you are a science-heavy civ, right? So then you might take up really, really quickly, but then you sort of might lack the social policies, which in turn might give you, I don't know, happiness, like this one here, or here in authority, you need this one to increase your happiness a little bit. So you need culture, right? And then you base your decisions around that. If you're science heavy, then you might decide to build monuments quickly, and you might decide not to go to the arena first, but maybe aim for the amphitheater, because that gives you more culture. Or it could be the other way around. You might be a culture heavy civ, and then you're struggling for science, right? And then you say, oh, right, I really need a library, right? I need to library here. I need to science, work the specialist, and that way I can sort of keep in the game. So that's what you should base your decisions on. The same goes for choosing your pantheon. We talked about that in the last, or I think it was in the last episode, a little bit, right? Or you might be science and culture heavy, but sort of lack production, right? Then you might choose a pantheon like let me just have a look. Don't tell a lie. I always mix up tutelary gods and something else. Pantheon beliefs, tutelary gods. Yeah, that is the one I was thinking about. This one can be really, really strong, right? So once your city gets to free pop, you get free production, 2 gold, and 1 faith. So that is an awful lot of production. Say, for example, you've got a really good early unit, right? Say you play Boudica, you got a Pectish warrior, or you might be Kreese, or you got the Hoplites, or here we've got Persia as our neighbor. We got the Immortals. If you got like two or three cities, and you get a lot of production, then you crank out those units and don't worry about too much else, right? And then you go authority, and then you might think, oh, hang on, I get production, I get gold, where is my culture and my science? Well, I tell you where it is. It's right here in authority, right? So you decide you want to go to war early, so for each kill you get culture. And then you might even forget this side here. You just might go straight in here, because here you get science from kills. And I put those 3 unique units I just mentioned, right? They're all melee units. So if you kill a unit with a melee unit, they heal for 15. So that can be super, super strong, right? So in that way, you should always sort of consider what you have, what you need, and where you want to get to. And that sort of determines the order in which you build things, or which path you take, or which policies you want to take. There's no formula that is right, you know? You can mix up totally opposing things and still get a good result. I think that's part of the fun of this game. You can try things. And if you don't succeed, you just start again. Okay, here we found a wonder. That's what I'm saying. That is the single most important unit in the game early on, in my opinion, right? Especially on higher difficulties, you need every single little bit you can get your hands on. Oh, here we got a quest as well. Build 4 lodges, and we get 106 hammers and 50 influence. That'll be enough to be friends for quite a while. And what have they got? Impies. Now, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something, guys? Yeah, a samurai stood next to an impy and conquered the world. Impies are pretty far away, right? But you still, until then, if your friends are allied, you get some melee units from that city-state here. So, and you might not want to build lodges everywhere. But it might also be worth it. It's often worth it that you do a quest which you're not sort of totally sure about, but what you want to achieve is that quest to reset, right? So you want, once you build your 4 lodges, a few turns later you get a new quest, maybe for 3 markets or 2 libraries, or I don't know, things you maybe really do want to build anyhow. And then if you get a reward for it, so much the better, right? The handbag here came unlearned. We're gonna punish it. And let's get that here. And you get this one, and we're gonna need those 3 whales to get our monopoly, which is 10% science, which is nice. And here, he's got his. We can get a little bit more XP. Okay, the worker here is done as well, and this guy, he's done his 3 turns. I can leave it here and come back to it later. And that guy, I prefer to improve that amber first, to be honest. We're gonna get some barracks, and then we can. We need to get calendar. We want to have archers at least. But last time you sort of made up our minds about trying for the terracotta army. And that's another thing. Wonders, right? There are, the higher the difficulty is, the more difficult they are to achieve, right? I mean, I've seen pyramids go as early as turn 16. I think the average is about 20 to 22, 23 maybe. AI really likes it. Stonehenge is a really good one. It's the quickest way to get a Pantheon, probably, unless you're sort of India, or who starts with faith when you found a city? Is it Spain? I'm not sure. But it also gives you a free council, which is good, and it gives you a great engineer point. That usually goes turn 24, 25, 26, something like this. And then the second tier one, they're already very difficult. Petra, you can get. And the other ones, sort of, it's a bit hit and miss. Statue of Zeus is quite popular with the AI. And then it sort of depends on the setup of the civs. And again, if you got lots of tradition civs, they might go straight up to drama and poetry, and don't worry about the bottom half so much. So that's when you can maybe try and get this one. Usually you're sort of falling behind in the beginning of the game, right? If you play up to maybe Emperor level, then you should always be able to get it if you sort of beeline for it. Which we almost did do, apart from that we went from for fishing here. It's a pretty good tech anyhow. The arena boosts the barracks, which we're building everywhere anyway, because we want to get the science, culture, and faith. And then also boosts the forges, which is here, gives it 2 production each. And the watermill is very, very good. And then terracotta army is pretty good, and get even more culture when you kill people. So let's talk a little bit less and try move along a little bit. There's a quest for a wonder as well. So I always want to make absolutely certain I get medic 2 for my scout. So I don't know how much. We've actually got a lot of exploring to do, but if you want to get into a war here, we might want to bring him home a little early, which would mean going this way. And we just wait, and we can't get him out there. So that should take care of our happiness, not? Barracks is also going to help. It just feels a little bit slow. I usually quite have a good feeling for. I see Morocco 15 ticks, Shoshone 15, and we are way behind on 9. And that's just how it is. And when you play on the higher difficulty levels, you're just falling behind in the beginning. Rome, we don't care about Rome. Oh, hang on. At war with Persia and Rome. So this is also part of the game, diplomatic stuff. As I just said, I'd like to declare on the Huns. And you might think it's a little bit early, but I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna have a little sort of an alliance against Attila here. After masonry, I'm gonna try and grab my archer. And this guy wants to die. Let's bring this guy. Why I want to declare an Attila is because at the moment we're not reaping the benefits of our policy here, right? We got authority, and the main thing it does, it gives you culture for kills and then later science, right? And at the moment we're not getting any of that apart from killing Bob. So when you go in progress, you get stuff constantly here. When a citizen is born, you get science. You get free gold in every city. Your workers are much quicker. You get city connection. You get food and science. You get a bonus to buildings and plus culture when you construct buildings. Here you get your great people. In authority, you only get things when you're at war, right? And if we're not at war, we're sort of falling further and further behind. And we could provoke him by doing that. We're not going to do that yet. Oh, he wants the wilds for free. Okay, let's be friends. And also we are sort of a negative happiness at the moment, which does give you a negative combat modifier. Let's go this way. I want to see. Oh, okay, that is cool. That's a quest again. And we're actually gonna be allied for 1 or 2 turns. But it's good, we're gonna be friends with Mwanza Congo, and what have they got? Oh, that's a Karolian, and that's a Swedish Fusilier or something, which also comes pretty late. Doesn't matter, we're gonna get some military units of them. We're gonna get 1 at least, maybe 2. How many turns does it tell me? I don't know. And we're gonna overtake them as allies here. That's also something you want to keep in mind when you where are they anyhow? They're up here, right? So if we were at war now with them, it would be sort of just a little bit troublesome. We could have to worry about the units coming down here, attacking our workers and things. So Tokyo, got that. 17 turns is quite a long way. We could barracks, or we could get a worker. Do want to improve stuff. Let's get a worker first, and then we're gonna get barracks maybe. There is a city-state, that's excellent, and he can get some more XP. I think that might be the second last shot here. And there's our last settler. It took a little bit longer because we're under 50%. Yeah, natural wonder, 60 science, 4 turns of science, right? So discovering the city-states really is a big deal. We are not gonna kill it this turn. And AI is actually pretty smart this time. We should not let him go unescorted. What we're gonna do, just that. You know the saying in English, do as I say, don't do as I do. That is the case here. So we could build the 4 lodges, but don't fancy that right now. We can get our whale monopoly, and the workboards are pretty cheap. I'd rather build them than pay for them. And then I might get a couple more units. Might get some slingers and upgrade them to archers, or put the barracks right here. There's also some people that don't bother with any sort of warfare until they get their armories. I'm not sure what is best. I remember my Babylon game, my failed one. Okay, that was a gift from City State. That was from them. So that's cool. Luckily we had barracks already. And he's gonna upgrade into spears, which I might eventually just take as garrison, so he can be shook and he can come down here over here, and I hope you're not thinking of declaring now. Just the one guy? I can protect him for now. I can take a hit. Oh. Yeah, luckily it reset already. I meant to say it's perfect. You should wait your exploration until you get the next quest. We got it immediately, so that's good. So that's... this time it's no science, it's 33 influence. It's just not gonna help us too much, but it doesn't hurt, and it resets, so that's the main thing. I turned 68. The other save file I've got where I went progress is on turn 100. Okay, he wants to be friends, that's perfect. Let's do that. He's built a Temple of Atem, is good for him. And we got the tech we wanted. Just have a quick look around here. I think it's pretty safe down here. That guy's been sort of been walking around here. And that workboat is gonna go here. And the other one is gonna follow in a minute. And we got Brazil in the game. And another city-state, good. News from Kyoto. We're just about gone happy. It's just, usually you just take extra pop. It's just too good not to take it. We could take a military unit, but we're nowhere near this one where we need a garrison everywhere. So for the time being, we just take the citizen here. didn't put us below 50, so that's okay. Okay, you sort of want to rush this, right? But I also want to talk about something else. I sort of purposely went down this route. I'm not playing this like I would if I was doing a let's play. I might have re-rolled the start as the first thing to mention. There's a thing and trade here, and there's caravans here. Two things about that. Caravans are good. First of all, usually you get a quest for them. It might not show here because we haven't researched the tech yet. I'm not sure. But you also get quite a few yields from sending them to other civs. And the further advanced they are, the more yields you get. So the more text they hit, the more science you get. If they got more social policies, you get more culture from them, and also money. So when you're sort of deciding to rush your military stuff, you're missing out on that, right? First of all, the yields, and then also the potential quests from city-states, which we just sort of learned are pretty good to have. So anyhow, we're gonna go calendar next, because we really need to get archers if we want to make some progress here with that guy. And he's on, is he on 2 cities? He's on 2 cities, so that's just perfect. We bring those guys back here. And we haven't got, we could settle in here or here. That city-state means nobody else is going to settle here. So we can sort of maximize the terrain around. Oh, that's another thing we can talk about for a second. So we get the luxury immediately. I don't have money to pay for a worker right now. If I had 2 workers running around here, I'd probably settle here and then try and get that tile first. But let's just get the unique luxury going. And then, so by now we're up to 18 faith. We're going to get our religion in 24 or less turns. I think we're going to start with the monument now. We're going to get some more faith from those 2 whale tiles here. What did I want to talk about just then? Oh, city placement, distance between cities, right? It's sort of, that's a thing, it's a thing to consider. And there's several points you want to consider about the distance between your cities, right? So when you go in tradition, right, it means you want to grow very, very big cities with 30 or even 40 pop. Your capital certainly. So the more pop you get, the more tiles are you're gonna work. So you really want to have as many tiles as possible for all the cities, right? So you get a 3 tile radius around the city. So when you're playing tradition and you want to maximize your potential, you place your cities usually about 7 tiles apart, right? So then you could, each city could have the full radius of tiles available. When you go brokers, for example, there's a very nice policy here. We get food and science from city connections, and it doesn't say it has to be 3, 4, or 10 tiles away. The shorter the distance, the better for you. So I tend to have lots of cities when I go progress. I want to have at least 10 cities, maybe up to 15 or even 20 if you've got space for it. And each city connection is going to give you something, right? And you don't pay a lot of maintenance, and you get some more gold from city connections as well. And for authority, here you don't get any benefits as such. I think there is something which reduces road maintenance, doesn't it? Is there something here? Gold and maintenance for units reduced by 15% and routes by 50%. Okay, there is something here. But when you're sort of playing authority, you tend to have a core 4 to 6 cities. You don't want to have too many because, first of all, the tech cost and the culture cost is going to increase, and you tend to not to go for great people so much. And you're also going to have a happiness issue. So you stick to very few cities, and then you're also not going to grow them very tall. I'd be amazed if any of the secondary cities here go beyond 10 pop, maybe 12, I don't know. So you can place them fairly close together because you're never going to work all the towns which are available. You work the best ones. You might work the library specialist in every city, or you might sort of focus 2 cities on science, maybe one where you lock a merchant and another one maybe engineer or something. So that about the city placement, the distance between them. And, oh yeah, he's gotten hostile already. That is what we want. Thank you. And another good thing, when you're not having too many cities in authority, you want to encourage your neighbors to settle locations near you, right? So it's not gonna happen here, unfortunately. But say Attila had another city here, and then he sort of got a little bit crazy and was to place another one here or here. That's perfect, right? Because it's quite close to you, and you can attack it and capture it and sort of get the benefits from Imperium and maybe from your religious beliefs later. The hero worship, it's called. So we got the capital. I am gonna get another slinger or two now. I might also delay that 70 hammers, and that is 4 turns. And the slingers are only 40 hammers, because we just got a little bit of money and the upgrade is not very expensive. So we're gonna get 2 slingers, and we might just delay it after the next turn. Okay, there's a river we can't both cross here. It's a second workport for our monopoly. And this guy, there's a city-state, which one discover? There's a hill, have a look. And another one. And he's got extra movement. We can also try move him into his Attila's hinterland, maybe pillage some towers and things, or caravan. Yeah, that's just to make sure we are working those beautiful towns here. Okay. And next. He's giving us some money for whales, unlike the Roman guy who just wants it for free. And okay, that is the marble done. And we should finish or start on the roads now, because we might want to have to reinforce that city with the units, and then we want to get there quickly. And also, of course, it does our happiness. So we got 2 luxuries. We got quite good then. We could improve the bison. The lodge is going to be good here. It's gonna give us extra hammers. Do we want to build that? I think we do, and in that case we also want to get the improvements first. And he's not gonna fight against those. Let's have a look here, and we got one movement point. Now the city's that close to us. Bucharest culture, good. And another wonder. Oh, we didn't have a quest this time. That is a bit unfortunate. And somebody wants us to get horses. Do we have horses? Come on, where's our horses here? Melee's map. Well. There's a thing in the settings in the beginning where you can take strategic balance, right? And on the one side, I quite like the challenge of sort of finding the resources and settling them if I can, or conquering them if I have to. On the other hand, if you got sort of a civ that sort of got a unique unit where you need horses or iron or something, and you don't have anywhere near you, then it's pretty gutting. In fact, I'll just restart the game, maybe. So horses are not essential, but I do like the skirmisher line a little bit. That's something we can also talk about in the next episode. This one's actually gone over 50 minutes already, and we only played 13 turns because I talked an awful lot. But that's what this is all about here. And that's okay. We can do another episode. I was actually planning on 3, but we can make it 4 or even 5. Actually surprised to have a reasonably good response yesterday. I'm not aspiring to be a YouTuber or anything, but so if you enjoyed and few people watch, it's really quite nice to see. So we're gonna talk about, or we're gonna try and start our first war in the next episode. Then we talk about warfare a little bit more. We can talk some more about promotions in a different way. We're gonna talk about maybe military stuff in general, I should say, because there's 2 or 3 things which are really, really important, arguably more so than your units in themselves. And then we can also hopefully get our religion going. And I should record that maybe tomorrow is Friday. I don't have any more time today because got some stuff to do in my bathroom. I bought some new stuff which I want to install, and then tonight I've got a hobby evening where we're playing another team. So maybe tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys, and I wish you all the best. Until next time, bye bye.